Hello and welcome inside our SNY studios. I'm Eamon McEnany, and the Giants have announced today that Eli Manning will not start against the Raiders on Sunday. He will be benched, and Geno Smith will get the start instead, and Davis Webb is also expected to play. This, of course, ends Manning's streak of consecutive regular season games, starting 210 consecutive regular season games, a streak that goes all the way back to November 21st, 2004. Now, for more on this latest development regarding the Giants, we're going to bring in SNY's NFL insider, Ralph Vacchiano. And Ralph, obviously, things not going the way the Giants expected to this season, 2-9, but still, how much of a surprise is to hear today that the Giants are not going to start Eli Manning?
Well, it's a shock. I mean, I guess you could certainly have guessed that at some point they might have wanted to look at their future quarterbacks, but if you took them at their word, which obviously we were all mistaken to do, they weren't going to do that. They were going to let Eli play. I think Ben McAdoo at one point said he did not foresee a situation where he would not have Eli Manning as his starter. The fact that they did this today via a press release with so many games left in the season, it's all shocking. It does not seem like a very nice way to handle your franchise quarterback, a two-time Super Bowl winner. But the only thing we know about it so far, since nobody's actually spoken publicly, is that according to the press release, they did give Eli an opportunity to continue his start streak, and they would just tell him that he wouldn't finish the games. They'd get a look at Geno Smith for some reason and Davis Webb. But Eli said, what's the point of that? Why? I'm not going to start just to keep that streak alive if I know I'm not going to finish the game. So he tried to take the high road out of here. Maybe that sort of pushed this along a little bit, but I don't think anybody saw this coming, certainly not right now.
All right, Ralph, so many ways to go from here, but you just led me to a good next question. Since you literally wrote the book on Eli Manning, you know him a lot better than the fans and most of the media who just get to see sort of that poker face, emotionless, even keel reaction after a win or a loss. Reading into that quote where he said, they asked me I could play, but they could play as well, just let them play. What do you read into that quote from Eli Manning after being told he wasn't going to start?
Well, he's a classy, dignified guy who's never going to get down in the mud about anything. I think we've seen that over the years when a lot of people have taken shots at him for various reasons. He's not really one to return fire. Even when he does, usually he does it with a little bit of a laugh. So if he's not happy about this, we'll never know it. And I think he also understands his place in history, and that he's right. The streak, if the streak was just about starting and they put him in there for a quarter and then took him out, you put a little asterisk on it. It tarnishes it a little bit. That's not what he's looking for. He's looking to play. He was proud of the starting streak because he played. He finished almost all of those games as well. He doesn't want to be just a guy who gets a token appreciation. If the Giants want to look at their future, if they want to plan for a life without him, he's fine. I think he still wants to play. Maybe it'll be somewhere else someday, but he's not going to get into a war with them or go week to week about how long am I going to play? What does this matter? He's trying to take the high road as much as he can.
Now, you alluded to this earlier in your first answer when you said for some reason Geno Smith. Why Geno and not just completely Davis Webb if the point is to find out your future quarterback is? Here in New York, I think we've all seen enough of Geno Smith, the Giants, the Jets, everyone has. Why not just go to Davis Webb? Why with the detour or the pit stop to Geno Smith?
Well, that's a really good question. Jerry Reese has apparently seen something in Geno Smith that he likes. He took a flyer on him, which made some sense before this season. He's a former starter. Obviously somebody that scouted and liked at one time. Bring him in, see if he can get healthy, see what his ability is. You wouldn't have thought he factored into being the future quarterback of the Giants, but if Jerry Reese is enamored with him, maybe he wants to see what he can do. He probably is also the more ready to play quarterback right now. I don't think the Giants want to throw in Davis Webb, have this become more of a disaster than it is, and then you really start to lose the locker room and the remaining veterans, and you just accomplish nothing. So having Geno Smith in there for a few quarters, who knows at this point, maybe he'll just play the first couple of games. At least you have a guy who can play in an NFL game. For all of Geno Smith's fault, he knows what it's like to be in an NFL game. He's not going to be overwhelmed. Davis Webb is still in the stage of his career where he might be overwhelmed.
Ralph, after a debacle of a season, there are going to be so many questions about this Giants franchise. Is Jerry Reese coming back? Is Ben McAdoo coming back? Can we now ask what's in the future for Eli Manning and the Giants at 36 years of age?
You certainly can. They have limited options. They can cut him after the season. I don't have it in front of me, but I believe the cap hit is pretty significant. Not nearly as significant as if they kept him on the roster, but he would still count for a lot of dead money. He's signed through 2019, so it's still not an easy cut. They can't trade him without his permission. In his last contract, he asked and got a no-trade clause. At the time, we all thought that was the most ridiculous thing ever because the Giants were never going to trade him, and now they're in a position where maybe they might look into it. It's so fresh right now, I can't tell you if that's something he would investigate. But my guess is if the Giants tell him you are not our starting quarterback anymore, and he still wants to play, then he might actually say, you know what, let me at least look at my other options. So, the Giants right now are opening the door to Eli Manning not being here in 2018 one way or another. It's just have to figure out how that's going to happen if it does at all.
Certainly a storyline not many of us expected to be a developing one for the Giants here in 2017. Ralph Vacchiano, SNY's NFL Insider. Ralph, thanks a lot for hopping on board here with the latest on the Giants and Eli Manning.
My pleasure, Amy. No problem.
Again, for the first time since November 21st, 2004, someone other than Eli Manning will be the starting quarterback for the New York Football Giants. That someone will be Geno Smith, and Davis Webb, the rookie, is also expected to play. We will have much more on Eli Manning being benched by the Giants coming up in less than an hour on Daily News Live, Loudmouths at 5:30, and then later, of course, on Geico Sports Night. But again, Eli Manning will not get the start, and we'll have much more on Daily News Live here on SNY starting at 5 o'clock.